Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And, yeah, it's Friday. It is Friday. Friday the 13th, that is. Yeah, you thought I was going to wind up doing that other thing that I do occasionally. No, not doing that today. No, I'm not going to sing or do a spoken word version of the Rebecca Black song because it's absolutely horrible. It should not exist. But as they say, it is one of those earworm sort of things that sort of like buries itself deep inside your head and then it never, ever leaves. But being that it is Friday, it's normally the day that I would answer your questions. And, you know, I'm actually going to answer a question, not one that was submitted, but a question that I had stumbled across inside a 5-year journal that I picked up before the beginning of the year. And, yeah, I've not necessarily been filling it out every day. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll pick it up and then answer the questions for like the last 2 or 3 days. But one of the questions that I had stumbled across was, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Which, it's an interesting question, right? And it's something that you sort of have to think about. Of when was the last time that you did something for the first time? So what's the last time you did something new is basically the question. And, well, I'm going to preemptively answer the question because I'm about 99% positive that on Monday I am going to head down to Boston. Not the first time I've ever been to Boston, but it will be the first time that I've ever gone to the Boston Marathon. And it's going to be the first time that I've ever gone to a race, particularly for the purpose of being a spectator. And by race here, I mean humans racing on foot. Yeah, I've been to car races and things of that sort, but I have never been to a, like 5K, or in this case, a marathon that I was not participating in. And it's going to be, I hope to be, a really fun, really good, enjoyable experience. And I happen to have stumbled across an article recently from Runner's World that I want to get into. And programming note here, because I will be in Boston, or at least the plans right now, unless something changes. The plans are to be in Boston on Monday. That means that there will likely not be a Monday show, unless I happen to record something on Sunday and then release it Monday morning before heading down to Boston. I'm not sure, but probably not going to be a Monday show next week. And then I'll just be back next Friday to again answer questions that you can send using the anonymous, if you want it to be anonymous, contact form on the website, ama.fppradio.com. That's AMA, as in Ask Me Anything, where, yes, you actually can ask me anything. ama.fppradio.com. So, jumping into the article here from Runner's World, again, how cheering on others can make you a better runner. And I had no intentions of, when I said that I want to go to Boston, and a couple of the people from the running club, or one of the running clubs that I'm a member of, had said, oh yeah, might have a seat in the car. Excellent. I had no intentions of, I'm going to go because that will make me a better runner. No. I wanted to go because, well, a couple of the people in the running club are running in the Boston Marathon. that end, I've never been to one of these big marathons before, and yeah, I'll be running in the New York City Marathon this fall, but again, that will be as a participant, not as a spectator. Now, if you want to help me secure my spot in that New York City Marathon this fall, you can go to run.fppradio.com. That's run, R-U-N, .fppradio.com. Make a donation to the Innocence Project, and all of the funds that are donated through the website there go directly to the Innocence Project. CrowdRise, which is the platform that gets the contributions, they wind up having a thing to where you, the donor, wind up paying the credit card fees and then whatever fees they take out for being the intermediary. And again, the charity winds up getting all of the donations. Right now, I'm sitting at about $900 below the goal. That's after accounting for matching funds that I know will wind up being claimed. So again, about $900 away from the goal. So if you can toss in just $5, $10, $15, everything helps. Now, let's jump into the article here from Runner's World. Article begins, raise your hand if a spectator gave you a boost during a race. And I'm raising my hand. If a funny sign made you smile. Yep. If an ice pop saved your soul at mile 20. Now, the only marathon that I have run thus far, it was in December, so there were no ice pops, but, yeah, water stations, yep, love them. The 10K that I did about a month ago, sorority girl down in Holyoke that handed out the Jell-O shots, don't know who you are, but I love you. And I don't necessarily recommend Jell-O shots in the middle of a race, but, you know, I wasn't there to necessarily compete. I was there. I want to make sure that I run this and just feel good running because I had taken January and February off. January, February were basically off season for me. Middle of March, yeah, I think I can run a 10K on almost no training. And I did. And I did pretty damn good. So, yeah, spectators, runners love you. Let's continue talking about it here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. The Doublespeak Dictionary by Leslie Starr O'Hara satirizes the marked difference between the ideal of we the people and the reality of we the elite, while offering an insightful glimpse into the clockworks of the totalitarian mind. Ever irreverent but never irrelevant, the Doublespeak Dictionary serves as a subversive and humorous but timely reminder that the emperor has no clothes. The Doublespeak Dictionary is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. Do you know what else I love other than spectators at races? I like precious metals. And I happen to know a guy. Yeah, I know a guy. It's one of those things, right? Like, I know a guy, he can hook you up. Tim Fry from Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. He can hook you up in Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. They've been hooking people up since 1977 with precious metals like gold and silver. They also deal in platinum and palladium. So let's say you've got some gold or silver that for some reason you need to turn into, say, U.S. dollars or maybe Bitcoin, because, yeah, they're Bitcoin preferred. they can wind up helping you whether you want to buy or sell precious metals. And again, Bitcoin preferred, meaning that they want to take your Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in exchange for what some refer to as that original cold storage. So call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760. That's 800-874-9760, or visit online at rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co. Now, I realize I got sidetracked here talking about the various things that runners appreciate from spectators. Again, this from Runner's World. It's written for runners here, where, again, they say, raise your hand if a spectator gave you a boost during a race. If a funny sign made you smile and ice pop saved your soul at mile 20, a stranger's high five put more oomph in your steps. Now keep it up if you've been a solid spectator yourself. Hand still up? It should be. And not only for a vague sense of race karma, turns out cheering for other people might actually help you become a better runner. The reason why is something psychologists call self-efficacy by vicarious experience. A funny way of saying that you're more likely to believe you can accomplish something when you see other people getting it done. Sindra Kemhoff, Ph.D., professor of sports psychology at Minnesota State University in Mankato, and author of the book Beyond Grit, 10 Powerful Practices to Gain a High-Performance Edge, says, you think, if they can do it, I can too. Simply believing you can do something has pretty powerful perks. Pausing here, there's a saying that says, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. Think about it. If you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right, because mindset plays a huge part in whether or not you actually can do a thing. Again, the article says, simply believing you can do something has pretty powerful perks. For one, you're more likely to stick with a commitment when things get tough. For example, Penn State University researchers looked at people with knee osteoarthritis and found that those who were more confident in their physical abilities early in the day were more active throughout the day despite the pain. And in a separate University of Illinois study, people who had a I can do it attitude were more likely to stick to their exercise regimens long term. Campoff, a competitive runner herself, saw this effect firsthand while watching the U.S. Olympic marathon trials. She said, I never saw myself as an Olympic runner, but my pace was similar to those of the people on the track, so I imagined myself in their shoes, and it gave me more motivation in my training. While she did not end up qualifying, her renewed commitment to running helped her win the 2012 Omaha Marathon a few years later. Here are 3 other ways that spectating can boost your own performance. You will feel less stressed. People who support others have less activity in brain areas associated with stress than those who receive support, according to psychosomatic medicine study. Stress sucks, obviously, but it also affects performance. College athletes were nearly twice as likely to develop injuries during stressful school weeks, i.e., midterms and finals, than during other periods of low academic stress. That, according to a research done by or published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research. So again, if you're less stressed, you're less likely to get injured. And there are all kinds of reasons behind that because, well, when you're not stressed, your body isn't as tense. There's a reason that people who are drunk, while they might wind up falling down easier, they're less likely to wind up getting hurt than somebody who's just tensed up during some kind of incident where they might wind up falling down. Continuing on. As a spectator, or rather as a runner who is spectating, you'll learn from all parts of the pack. Spectating allows you to see racers that you don't normally get to see as a participant. There's something to glean from each group. Campoff says if you're usually at the front, you might think running is all about competing. If you're in the back, you never see how the elites really glide. Spectating allows you to take note of the form and focus of the pros while gaining inspiration from the grit of the back of the pack. Now, to pause here, I've actually heard some people, I don't know if elite athlete would necessarily describe them, but people who are more front of the packers who say, I don't know if I could wind up doing a 6-hour marathon. Because they're so used to getting out there and getting done to where somebody who's one of these back of the packers, it might take 6, 7, 8 hours or longer to do that marathon, but at the end of the day, they've gone just as far, but it took a hell of a lot more determination when you're at the back of the pack and there's nobody around you. It takes a lot of willpower to keep moving forward. I've turtled a race before, and that's the term for when you're back of the pack. Because turtles are slow. It takes a lot of willpower to keep moving forward when there's nobody else around you. And there's nobody behind you. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, talking about how cheering on others can actually make you a better runner or overall athlete. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to ZOG.Ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, ZOG.Ninja, code FPP.
Hey, this is Scott from the ANCAP Barbershop, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. We'll get back into the article here in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about Zencash. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 8,500 secure nodes, and I've heard it's approaching 9,000. Hell, it might be over 9,000 right now. And yeah, there's some kind of reference to some comic thing in there. Over 9,000! Zencash, with all of those secure nodes, has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. And the Zencash wallet is available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices as a GUI, nonetheless. So it's not one of these, you can download it on Linux, but then it's command line. No. We're talking about things that are easy to use. And again, multiple platforms, multiple languages as well. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Talking about how being a spectator can actually wind up making you a better runner or just a better overall athlete if athletics is something that you're into or if running is something that you're into. Again, the article here from Runner's World, where Dr. Sindra Kamphoff, PhD, professor of sports psychology at Minnesota State University, Mankato, and author of the book Beyond Grit, 10 Powerful Practices to Gain the High-Performance Edge, says, as a spectator, when you're sitting there as somebody who's an athlete, but also at a particular event serving as spectator, you start to think, if they can do it, I can do it. And then you begin to believe in yourself more than you did otherwise. You also wind up being less stressed. And when you are less stressed, you are less prone to being injured. Studies of college athletes show that they are nearly twice as likely to get injured during stressful times of school, i.e. midterms and finals, than they are other parts of the year. And also, as spectator, you wind up getting to see runners that you would not normally see on the course, whether the course is a giant loop or a straight line. Now, if it's a smaller loop, and I realize that I'm using terms here that might not be common language for non-runners. So I've run races where it's, say, a 1 mile loop, or the hamster wheel that I did was a 4 mile loop, where chances are you're going to see almost everybody. On that 1 mile loop, you definitely see everybody. On the 4 mile, maybe not. But again, if it's a point to point where you start in one place, you end somewhere else, you're not going to see everybody in the race. But as a spectator, you do. You wind up getting to see the elites at the very front. You get to see that first person cross the finish line, assuming you're standing somewhere near the finish line. If you're not, you see the fastest person. You also see the turtle at the end. And again, turtle is just a phrase for the person at the back of the pack. But again, at the end of the day, everybody that finishes the race has gone the same distance. They've all gone, 12 miles, 13 miles, 26.2, whatever the distance is of the race. Everybody that finishes has gone the same distance. Doesn't matter if you're first or last or somewhere in between. It takes a lot of heart to go out and do that. And again, as the spectator, you wind up getting to see everybody, and you see how, sort of seamless and smooth those front runners are, and then you see the determination of the people towards the back of the pack. You also know what to expect. The article here continues. Kamphoff says, when people tell me they want to qualify for a meet, I tell them to watch the specific event. Taking in the exact surroundings and seeing other people model the course is a powerful thing. Let's say you stood at Heartbreak Hill in Boston, which is probably where I'm going to be on Monday. Fingers crossed, hoping everything lines up and happens as I'm planning it. Let's say you're standing at Heartbreak Hill in Boston and saw a variety of runners struggling, elites, athletes with disabilities, members of your own pace group. The experience will help you develop more inner strength for when you tackle that hill yourself. Kamphoff continues, they're modeling the experience for you so you know what to expect and you can feel more confident in your own abilities when the time comes. And then they have some squad secrets from Wellesley. That's the Wellesley College Cheer Zone, or the Scream Tunnel near mile 13 of the Boston Marathon. They say, steal their sideline tips. Divide the day. You'll lose steam if you stand on the sideline from start to finish. Fiona Chung, a senior at Wellesley, says, I cheer for a couple of hours, then play lawn games or break for lunch. Track your friends who are running and head back when they're close. Many larger races have apps that make it easy. Create a sign. A sign increases your interaction with the runners. It gives locals more pride in their city while welcoming people from out of town. Be personal. We'll continue here in the closing moments on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
This is Darryl W. Perry, host of Free Talk Live. This November, I'll be running in the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, and I've accepted a spot on Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. Since 1989, 353 people in the United States have been exonerated by DNA testing, including 38 who pled guilty to crimes they did not commit, and 20 of whom served time on death row. The Innocence Project provided direct representation or critical assistance in 180 of these cases. With your help, the Innocence Project can help even more people who have been wrongly convicted. As part of Team Innocence Project, I am raising awareness about wrongful convictions and raising funds to help free the innocent. I've already paid the race registration fees. However, to secure my spot on Team Innocence Project in the New York City Marathon, I need to raise $3,500 by November 1st. You can support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry by going to run.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Talking about the ways that cheering on others can actually make you a better runner or a better athlete. Some tips from the Wellesley College Cheer Zone, or what some refer to as the Scream Tunnel, near mile 13 of the Boston Marathon. Molly Hoyer, a senior and house president of Wellesley's Munger Hall, says make a sign. It increases your interaction with the runners. Apparently, Munger Hall makes about 500 signs for Boston Marathoners every year. She says if you're not sure where to start, reference the race town. It gives locals more pride in their city while welcoming people from out of town. She continues by saying be personal. One-on-one interactions are what cheering is all about. She says, I love looking for identifiers, a name on a bib, a fun costume, and calling them out. She says you never know if people have other friends and family on the course cheering for them. And finally, cheer for yourself. It's easy to be hard on yourself, but supportive of others. So take note of how you didn't withhold cheering from any other racer, no matter their form or their pace. Hoyer says, hold on to that positivity and remember that you deserve the same support from yourself. And this is probably the biggest thing here. And you don't have to go be a spectator at a race to wind up becoming your biggest fan. And I realize some people might think that that sounds like I'm saying be conceited. Not at all. But again, if you don't believe in yourself, who else will? And not only that, but why should anybody else? Why should anybody else be your fan if you're not even a fan of yourself? And, you know, it's been something that I've been working on for many, many years of trying to wind up, becoming a fan of myself. And, I don't really have anything else to add here. Again, as always, the link will be in the show notes. You can read it at your leisure. There's another article that I wanted to wind up going over that somehow, to some extent relates here. Not going to have time to get into it, but I will post the link in the show notes. So basically, you get a surprise article in the show notes if you go to the show notes. And remember, every Friday, I answer your questions. Send those over, ama.fppradio.com. You can be anonymous if you want to be, ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.